What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Of course, this is TWA Motorsports, and today we're just going to talk. We're going to talk about some of the thoughts that I have that run through my mind all the time, some of the stuff that's going on in the shop. It's kind of almost like an update video, but we're going to be talking about something that we're going to dig into that I've been wanting to do for over 10 years, and we're going to kind of explain why we're doing it. But before we get to that, I'm just going to kind of walk you guys around the shop. We're going to talk about each project, where we're at, what we're thinking, and we'll just kind of start back in the corner and work our way back this way and end with what I want to talk about. So first of all, guys, I've moved the shop around. As you can tell, I've got my trailer back in the back now. I've got the green truck here. The Trans Am's on the lift, which you saw. Of course, Cohen's Vet is under the lift. It's the only thing that'll actually fit under the lift at max lift in the shop. So my green truck will not clear. So if you guys are ever looking to do a lift like this, I could put my truck on top of it, but there's always got to be a car on the bottom. Even a slam truck, I've only got 2 more clicks and it's real close. I may be able to get the green truck under it, but I don't even want to risk it. But anyway, so obviously we've got a lot to go with the Trans Am. I'm thinking, guys, of something else we're going to be doing here, and so I'll let you know if I decide to do it. I'll make a video of me doing it, but I'm just kind of gathering some little odds and ends things to do the next video on that car. The green truck, though, guys, look, I fixed the AC. If you guys watch on Facebook or Instagram, I actually took this down to a buddy. It had been leaking for a while. The low side, there's a Schrader valve in the low side where you fill, and it had been leaking for a while. So I wanted to drive this thing because I want to drive it. But the air hasn't been working. It's been like over 100 degrees several days. We had a week straight of like 100 plus. Today's the first day of it being like down in the 80s at least. So I wanted to drive it. So I took it to a buddy's. He filled up the AC. We changed that Schrader valve out, and now the compressor is leaking. So we're going to have to put a compressor on this thing at some point. Look, guys, this is why and I said this on Facebook, when I replace parts, a lot of times I replace new stuff. So I don't just take an LS motor like I did and drop it in this truck. Obviously cleaned up a lot of stuff, put a lot of new parts on it, and that's generally my method. Well, on the AC compressor, it looked pretty good, so I just kind of cleaned it up and put it back on. But guys, it is toast, and so we're gonna have to put a compressor on it if I want the AC to work. But with that being said, we're going into a season where we don't necessarily need air conditioning, and I don't drive this truck a ton, so I don't know how soon we're gonna get to that. So Cohen's car, look, he's saving up money, always trying to think of the next modification. I don't know what it'll be. I think he's kind of leaning towards maybe a ported throttle body or a tune. I don't really know where his next, he's trying to find, trying to knock out those cheaper mods, which I get, because he is making a payment on this thing. So he's trying to knock out cheaper stuff. Anyway, so you guys noticed that we moved the white truck over here. And the reason I moved the white truck over here is because the original plan when I moved it here was to start kind of tearing some of the stuff off of it. And I'm waiting on my painter to be ready. Guys, we are going to take the body off of this frame. We're going to take the fenders and the front end off, and he's going to paint that. I'm going to keep the frame here. And the reason the plan was to do that is I wanted to have the frame powder coated and add the stuff that I want to add to it. But we're a long ways there. But it's going to get done eventually. So I have no plans. This thing isn't costing me anything sitting here, and I'm not pushing my painter. I'm not in a hurry. As you guys know, the bed's already finished. I'm just waiting to get him the cab, and I'm trying to work with his amount of room that he has. So aside from that, guys, you see all the Trans Am parts still that we have left to put on. I have still not sold the turbo kit, and honestly, guys, until I sell the turbo kit, I don't see the Trans Am getting finished. I don't know, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I would like to have the cash out of the turbo kit to finish the other stuff that I want to do to the Trans Am. And I've also like to have all that racking cleared off with the Trans Am parts so we could put the OBS parts on there. So that's kind of what's going on with it. You guys also know I've been working on the motor for the Suburban that we bought that was blown up. So I got heads from my local machine shop. I just had them clean those up, true them up, just to make sure that we don't have any issues. I've got some parts, as you can see, for that, and that's kind of what there's a hodgepodge of parts over there on the table that kind of go to that motor, and there's some Trans Am stuff, there's some 55 stuff. So on to, and you can see I've got all the old parts we pulled off the engine sitting on the floor. But look guys, we tore the 55 apart because it ran like crap and was leaking and all this stuff, and I know it's been kind of stagnant. Well, here's the issue with it being stagnant and why I haven't got anywhere. Guys, it's just been so hot out here, and there's so many things that we need to do. Really the next step in this project is I need to get the motor off of that. I need to assemble the front suspension, make sure everything's working, make sure that everything fits under the car. So I kind of need to slide the frame back under the car, which means I have to disassemble. Also need to slide the frame under the car to get the brake lines kind of where they need to go, drill and tap the holders for the brake lines, and then blow it all back apart and get it powder coated. So it's really more of a trying to find time to do all this stuff. Obviously we have a lot going on, and we just keep adding, like with the Suburban and whatnot. And the Suburban's outside. We got to get the motor out of it. But before we get the motor out of it, I want to get that other one assembled and ready to go in, because I kind of want to do that in the same day. So, but either way, we've got tons of this. These are the parts off the Suburban that you saw us tear off. This is off the motor that's in it. The ones underneath in the back are the ones that we took off the new motor we're replacing it with. So remember, we're doing the DOD delete option and just trying to make it, I don't know, where it'll last, I guess. This motor here, guys, is a good 6-liter. Had this, we took it out of a, what was it, a flatbed 3500 that I bought. Actually drove the truck around for a couple months. And so that motor's good, and that brings me to what my plan is here, guys. So look, the 54, we took to a buddy of mine. And my buddy gets it, and he kind of starts tearing into it, and he says, look, Travis, the carburetor's toast. And I kind of assumed that. And so when he told me that, I'm like, well, how much is a new carburetor? And he's like, well, honestly, a good Edelbrock carburetor is probably 400, 450, something like that. And so, but he's like, look, the motor's got some blow by. It's not terrible, but and then he's thinking, well, maybe the transmission casing is cracked, or the fittings are in there wrong. It's leaking transmission fluid. Guys, it has so many little things that I'm like, look, what would it cost to LS swap it? So, right, like I just pick it up turnkey. And so he gave me a price, and I said, do it. Okay, so like a week goes by, and I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking about this. And guys, I don't necessarily think, I bought the motor. I bought a 6-liter and a 4L60 to put in the 54. And I went ahead and paid for it, and I had a change of heart. Guys, look, the 54 has, the paint is decent. The interior with the tweed, I hate. It needs suspension. In my opinion, I need my painter to touch up some areas. I hate the interior. I got to thinking, like, I don't know that I necessarily want to dump all that money in a 6-liter LS swap in that car. So that is where we're at right now. And so, guys, look, I have been wanting to LS swap the 52 ever since I've owned it, right? It's been, like, before I've had this truck longer than anything in the shop. And I've always said that, look, if worse come to worse and I had to sell everything, I would keep this, and I still feel that way. I love this truck. We don't drive it a lot just because it doesn't have AC, and we can't all fit in it. But I'm never gonna sell it. And so, guys, this is what my plan is. We are going to yank the motor out of this truck. This is a good running 305 turbo 350 transmission. I'm going to give that to my buddy. He is going to put that in the 54. Now, the only issues that this motor has is it leaks a little bit of oil, and he's gonna fix those spots. So the valve covers leak, the oil pan leaks a little bit. I'm not as concerned about, it doesn't leak a ton, but when it sets for a while, the stuff that leaks out of the valve covers, it'll coat like the headers and it smokes for a little bit, but once it burns off, we're good. But here's what I will tell you about this motor. It always keys up. Like, it is super reliable. And so I am planning on putting this motor in the 54, and chances are we're probably gonna sell the 54. Now, with that being said, I don't wanna just leave this with no motor. Obviously, guys, there's a problem with, I pull a lot of stuff apart, okay? And I start other stuff before other stuff's back together. But it's just like one of those things you get, I don't know if anybody's like me, but I get tired of projects, so I have to get re-energized in a project, and then I'll go for a little bit, and then I think about something else and I go a little bit. And so it's not that I'm never gonna finish all these things. It's gonna take me a while. So like the Trans Am, I was really going hard on it, and then you like go to order a part and it's not available, and that like, it deflates you. Okay, let's get on the OBS. All right, let's get on the 55. Okay, let's get on the Suburban outside that we bought that needs a motor. That's kind of the way I am. So that's why you see me hop around a lot and do a lot of stuff. I just like to tinker with stuff. And so we'll get there eventually. You know, it took me a really, really long time to get the NBS, the green truck back there, to where it's at, right? So a lot of people were like, well, you're never gonna finish it, you're never gonna finish it. Well, it's pretty much finished now. There's some other stuff that I'd like to do, don't get me wrong, but I've always wanted to do this. And so that's the plan, guys. I'm not gonna start it in this video, I'm gonna make a separate video. We're gonna yank this motor and transmission out. I'm gonna get it down to my buddy. At the same time I'm dropping the motor and trans off with him, I'm gonna pick up the 6-liter, and we're gonna start to kind of fit this thing together. I don't want to put a timetable on this, but I also don't want it to be a part. If I had to put money on it, I would say that I think once the turbo kit sells, the Trans Am will be done first. I think this will be done second. I think we will be back and forth on these, but I can't be for sure. But this is something that I've wanted to do for a very, very long time. And it just makes sense with using this motor that I would normally just sell and basically give away. They're not worth much, to get the 54 going so I can sell it. Like I said, I just don't see any reason that we would keep the 54. Now, look, with this motor and transmission in it, would it be reliable that we could drive around? Yeah, we can at least have some fun in it. I might fix a few things on it, or it might sell pretty quick. I don't know. But anyway, kind of wanted to just update you guys on what's going on in the shop, what my plans are, and kind of explain to you my thinking. So this is the way I think. Like I said, I get real hot and heavy on a project, and then I fizzle out, and then I maybe see one driving down the road or get re-energized about it, and I get back on it, and so on and so forth. So there's like ebbs and flows, you know, like anything else. That's what I love about the variety in the shop, is we can kind of work on different stuff, and I can tinker and play and do at my own speed, my own pace, and do the things like I was talking about on the green truck, where I'm not just gonna take a greasy salvage yard motor out and stab it in this truck. Could I do that? Could we have this thing running relatively quickly? You could, but I would hate it. I would hate popping the hood to show your work, and it's just a greasy, nasty LS motor stabbed in a truck. I'm not like that. So we'll be replacing seals, gaskets, maybe putting a few parts on it that, you know, like upgraded parts, probably put some lifters, a cam, nothing crazy. I'm not trying to build a race car here, but at the same time, just trying to make it my own and cool and clean. But anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this little rant of me going around the shop talking about some of the projects. Look, it may take me a long time to get all these done, but we're just chipping away a little bit at a time. We got some, we'll get some parts in for one thing, we'll get some parts in for another, so we'll kind of switch around on what we're working on. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this little update and video talking about kind of where we're at and where we're going. And if you did, like always, please smash that thumbs up button. Guys, if you're not subscribed, go down there, hit that subscribe button. Of course, like always, ring that bell notification. That notifies you every time we drop a new video. Go check out twamotorsports.com, guys. We've got shirts, hoodies, key tags, stickers, and stay tuned to see some of these projects get put together.